والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وفقها في الدين يا رب العالمين وألحقنا بعبادك الصالحين. يقول الله عز وجل: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم في الأولين والآخرين إلى الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، ويقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال: قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: من صلى علي واحدة صلى الله عليه عشرا، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Today we have a different topic, inshallah. As the month of Rabi'ul Awwal goes, last week we covered something extremely important. This week also, inshallah, we will also cover something very close to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The sunnahs of Rasulullah, like I said last week, the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is extremely important. Why? Because it is our way of life. Without that way of life, we are at loss in this dunya and in akhirah. The reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Rasulullah was because for us human beings to learn how to live in this dunya pleasing to Allah, making Allah happy. This is our maqsad. This is our objective in life, goal in life. If this we cannot fulfill, then we have failed in our journey of life that we are here for in this world. Today our topic will be on durud. On durud, we normally know from the Indian, Pakistan, Bangladeshi subcontinent, but in the Arabic we know as salat and salam upon Rasulullah. Salat and salam upon Rasulullah. There have been many great books written by many great muhaddithin, giant muhaddithin, mashallah. One of them whom was Imam as-Sakhawi. Imam as-Sakhawi, one of the greatest scholars of hadith of the 9th century, just after Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. He writes this book called Al-Qawl al-Badi' fi as-Salati ala al-Habib al-Shafi'. This is an amazing book which covers all the essentials that a Muslim needs to know about the legal rulings and all the virtues, all the times when durud and salat and salam is necessary upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The ayah that I recited, Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi, we recite this we recite this in every khutbah. Every khutbah. What is the meaning? Verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us, instructs us to send salutations upon Rasulullah. Send salutations and blessings upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So here we find a direct command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us to send salawat upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It has occurred in approximately 100 different ahadith in different variations of the wordings of how to send salam upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You will see some of the scholars, they restrict themselves to highly authentic narrations. Those are approximately just over 40. Just over 40. Now this is 40 specifically to the words found in hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in the collections of hadith that we find available, direct words of Rasulullah. Whereas the one that we will be covering today, inshallah, will cover not only the words of Rasulullah, but also the salat and salam that was sent with the wordings of the Sahaba, which is called mawqufat or mawquf ahadith, which are considered ahadith but from the Sahaba. Okay? It's like, if you want to put it into terms, then it's like the sayings of the Sahaba. So for a person to send salat and salam in different wordings, it is not wrong. It is not incorrect. It is completely okay. Okay, it is completely okay. There's nothing wrong. Many of the ulama, they wrote poetry in regards to sending salat and salam upon Rasulullah. Dalailul Khairat is one of the great books that have been written, and that was one of the most accepted books. You'll see Sheikh Muhammad Yaqub going around the whole of UK, mashallah, touring and giving ijaza in his book of Dalailul Khairat, which is an absolutely amazing work. But our ulama generally, this was a book that was available and in nearly every single household of Arabia as well as non-Arabs. Arabs and non-Arabs had this book in their household. It was like the second to Quran. Okay, it was second to Quran book that people used to recite on a day-to-day basis. They would recite normally the whole book in 7 days. So not all the narrations inside there, or not all the forms or the words are from Rasulullah. Our ulama say what is from Rasulullah and the words from Rasulullah is, of course, best to stick to if you can. If it's possible that you have a book of all the authentic collections that you can stick to from the words of Rasulullah, then it's better. But there's no harm in saying it in your own words. It's like doing dua. Doing dua in Arabic, is it necessary? It's not necessary. Doing dua in Arabic with the words that are from Rasulullah, is it necessary? Not necessary, isn't it? Everyone will agree upon that. It's not necessary. So likewise, sending salat and salam upon Rasulullah, it is not necessary for everyone to send it according to the words given by Rasulullah. But if you do so, you will get rewarded much more. Why? Because you are following the words, exact wordings of Rasulullah. Just like dua. Dua, if you memorize the exact du'as of Rasulullah in the exact wordings, and you do it on a day-to-day basis, you will be rewarded much more. Okay? I think I've covered that. From Imam Sakhawi's book, we're going to go through quickly some of the virtues that he mentions in a whole list. There's a whole list here, subhanallah. Okay, we're going to try to go through as many as we can here. And then at the end, inshallah, we'll end off with those 100 that I said from Rasulullah as well as from the wording of the Sahaba, radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. So firstly, the hadith that I recited. A person who reads salat and salam upon Rasulullah once, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends down 10 mercies, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives in return, multiplies it by 10 times. Okay, the reward, he multiplies it by 10 times. So there's no loss, there's only 10 times benefit. Okay, it only is multiplied by 10 times. That's the first one. Then going through the benefits, inshallah, the first one, a person synchronizes with Allah in that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also sends durood upon the person, sends mercy. Here in this context will be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you sending one mercy to Rasulullah will be, you will get 10 mercies in return. Okay, is that understood? Next, a person synchronizes with the angels in that they also send durood. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu. Verily Allah and the angels send salawat upon Rasulullah. So therefore here you synchronize with the angels in sending salutations upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The third one, a single durood of a believer draws 10 mercies of Allah. We spoke about that from the hadith. Next one, number 4, it is a means of attaining the mercy and dua of the angels. So in order for you to, when you make salawat upon Rasulullah, automatically what are the angels doing? The angels are taking your salat and conveying it to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam directly, isn't it? Within that split second, the angels are taking your salat and salam and they're going to the qabr of Rasulullah and they are conveying the durood and salam to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So therefore you are being showered with the mercies from the words of from the mouth of the angels as well. Allahu Akbar. The next one we have is, it is a means of attaining dua and mercy from Rasulullah. Of course, if you are sending salat and salam upon Rasulullah himself, then you're going to automatically get mercy and rahmah from Rasulullah. Of course, he's going to be happy. That's what the hadith says. Rasulullah becomes happy upon his ummati when the ummati makes salat and salam upon him. Number 6, a single durood causes 10 mercies to descend, 10 sins are forgiven, and a person's stages are raised by 10. Allahu Akbar. This is another hadith. All of these are from a hadith. Okay, all of this whole list, they've just listed it out for us in order for us to take the benefit quickly. Okay, a person who sends salat and salam upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gets 10 rewards, 10 sins are forgiven, and 10 ranks, 10 darajat, 10 ranks in paradise are heightened for that person. Of course, in Jannah, as we know, the more higher you go, the better the service is, the higher the class is. Okay, and likewise in Jahannam, the lower you go, the worse it becomes. Okay, the lowest of the low will be the hypocrites in Jahannam, and the highest of the high will be Jannatul Firdaus with the Anbiya alayhimus salam, with all the prophets alayhimus salam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala join all of us in the company of all the Anbiya in Jannah. Ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Next we have the recital of 100 durood is a means of freedom from Jahannam and hypocrisy. Allahu Akbar. This hadith mentions if a person recites 100 durood, we are recommended to, our ulama always say, at a bare minimum, recite durood 300 times a day. Okay, they don't say this for no reason. Okay, they don't say this for no reason. They say it because they know these virtues. They know what you can accumulate. They know what billions you can accumulate within seconds. Okay, so this 300 times regimen that our ulama, our Sufi ulama or our mashayikh give is for this reason. Okay, reciting 100 times guarantees you freedom from Jahannam. That's the first thing. If you were to die on that day, inshallah, there's no possibility that you will be entering Jahannam. Okay? And number two, it protects you from hypocrisy, that you don't die upon hypocrisy. Subhanallah. It is a massive, massive, massive reward. The next one, number 8, 100 durood causes 100 needs to be fulfilled. Now, how these needs get fulfilled, we don't know. We are human beings. We don't know which of the needs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fulfills. We only rely and make tawakkul upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after doing our best. Okay? But the rest is being done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The rest is being done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today you were supposed to slip and fall. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected you from that one. Today you were supposed to go and have a small car crash. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected you from that one. Today you were supposed to wake up in the morning and go late to work. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected you from that one. Do you understand? Just for examples purpose. Okay? So 100 things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will fulfill your 100. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will fulfill 100 needs of yours if you recite it every single day for 100 times. 100 durood is a means of getting to live with the martyrs. Allahu Akbar. I suppose this hadith mentions that those who will recite 100 durood a day and pass away in that state, in that day, they will be of the ranks of the martyrs, of those who gave their complete life, their blood in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Next one, 100 durood draws 1,000 durood of the angels. Why? Because 100 times 10 is 100 times 10 is 100 times 10 is 1,000. So by you reciting the durood 100 times, each durood is multiplied by 10. So therefore you're getting 1,000 mercies from the angels. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. A person gets the reward of a qirat for reciting durood once. Now, qirat is a massive amount of reward which Rasulullah described like a mountain, like the size of a huge mountain. A person gets the reward of a qirat for reciting durood once. Number 12, forgiveness is sought on behalf of a person who recites durood. Forgiveness is sought. So if a person suffices only on durood, he can't do anything else. Like Rasulullah says to that person, the person came to Rasulullah. He said, Rasulullah said, do you make durood upon me? He said, no. He said, I make so many du'as, a lot of them don't get accepted. So Rasulullah gave him a recommendation, send salawat upon me. He says, if I do this much percentage, meaning like, let's say if I if I do quarter of my, instead of my du'as being 100% of my du'as, let's say I do 25% durood and 100% and the rest 75% du'as. Okay, the rest 75% du'as. Is it okay? Rasulullah said, if you do more, it will be better for you. It will be better for you. So he said, then Rasulullah, for example, as I'm saying it in a way of example, okay, don't quote me for this. I don't have the actual narration in front of me, but this is how the narration comes. He said, what about 50%? Rasulullah says, if you do more, it will be better for you. What about 75%, let's say, yeah? Meaning three quarters of your dua being all durood, just durood, meaning you are not doing dua anymore. You've lessened your dua and you're just doing durood. 75% of your time that you're supposed to be making dua, you're actually making durood instead. Then Rasulullah, even then at that instance, at the third instance, he said, no, even three quarters, even if you do more, meaning even if you do 100% of durood, it is still better for you. Meaning, you don't even have to do dua. You don't have to do your istighfars. Not that you don't do it. Of course, we do it because we find it in the sunnah. But if a person were to restrict himself just to send durood upon Rasulullah, remember, this is Habibullah. This is why we're going through this, okay? He is Habibullah. He's the most beloved of the creation of Allah from the whole of not just humanity, not just mankind, not just jinnkind, not just the angels, not just the whole universe. Every single thing that exists, every single thing that was created from the first till the last, he is the most beloved. There is no one. There is no one. That's why when Rasulullah becomes your lawyer, there is no way that your case will fail. There is no way that you will fail the Shafa'atul Kubra. Rasulullah will definitely take you by the hand on the day of Qiyamah and enter you into Jannah himself. Okay? There is no way that you will fail. This is the power of durood. Durood. So even if you make all your dua, turn your full dua that you were supposed to make for, let's say, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour, turn the whole thing into durood, this will still favor you much greater. Much, much greater. This is still much greater and much better for you. A person gets the reward. We done this. Number 12. Forgiveness is sought on behalf of a person who recites durood. We spoke about this. Number 13. It causes the forgiveness of sins. It causes the forgiveness of sins. You want to make istighfar, astaghfirullah inna Allah ghafurur rahim, astaghfirullah inna Allah ghafurur rahim, astaghfirullah inna Allah ghafurur rahim. This is also amazing. But if you recite durood, this will also do the job as well. This will also do the job. Allahu Akbar. Number 14, it purifies your deeds. Our deeds are sometimes not complete, not at the best quality. Allah wants quality. Allah doesn't want quantity. Okay, remember this. Allah doesn't want quantity. Allah wants quality. When you compare one Rolex with a million watches, what happens? Is it the same? It's not the same. Why? The quality. So likewise, one salah that is accepted in the court of Allah is much better than a million salahs. Is that understood? So likewise, it purifies your deeds. Whatever shortcomings that we have in our day-to-day deeds and a'mal, all those shortcomings will be, made complete. Made complete. Those actions will be made complete. Number 15, it carries more reward than freeing a slave. Allahu Akbar. Reciting durood upon Rasulullah carries more reward than freeing a slave. Next one, number 16, a person's deed will be weighed in a large scale. The greater the durood, the weightier your scales on the day of judgment. Isn't it? The weightier, the more the durood that you sent upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam whilst in your lifetime, the heavier your pan or your scale of good deeds will be on the day of judgment. And we all want it to be heavy, because if it's not heavy, then we're in big trouble. We won't be able to enter, or we don't have the prerequisites to enter Jannah. A person will enter Jannah together with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the promise of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A single durood draws 70 mercies from the angels. A single durood sends 70 mercies from the angels. Before we said 10, here we mentioned in another narration, mentioned 70. It causes one to get the intercession of Rasulullah. This is what I spoke about. Okay, the intercession of Rasulullah is something we all as believers, this is part of our aqidah, part of our Muslims' belief, that on the day of judgment, the greatest shafa'ah, the greatest intercession will be of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His intercession will take every last believer that said with sincerity, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, he'll take us out by the thousands from Jahannam into Jannah. He will cry and he will fall onto sajda. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, Irfa' ra'sak, raise your head, sal tu'ta, ask, and you will be given what you will be granted what you ask for. And then Rasulullah will say, Ummati, Ummati, free my ummah from Jahannam, free my ummah from Jahannam. This is the shafa'ah that we wait for as believers. But of course, you must do the action. You must do the action of shafa'ah in order to get the shafa'ah. And what is this action? The best action is durood upon Rasulullah. Salat and salam upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It causes one to get the testimony of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in one's favor. Rasulullah is shahidan wa mubashiran wa nadhira. Shahida. Rasulullah will bear testimony of our iman. Now a person might say, how will Rasulullah bear testimony upon our iman? Because he will see our glow. When we make wudu, what happens? Those parts of wudu on the day of judgment. So this was asked. This was asked by the angels. How will you recognize your ummah? I will recognize my ummah because of the glow, because of the shine that they will have on the atharul wudu, the parts where they make wudu, the face, the arms, the feet, the head. This will be shining and glowing. So I will automatically recognize my ummati. I will automatically recognize my ummati. So Rasulullah will be a shahid, will be a witness of our iman in order to enter us into Jannah. Allahu Akbar. It is a means of salvation from fear of Qiyamah. So on the day of judgment, as we know, the horrors and terrors of Jahannam and the fears and horrors and the terrors of the day of Qiyamah is mentioned in depth. A person can truly visualize the whole scene if he wants to. This is how إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انْفَطَرَتْ. We spoke about those. How visually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you the vision of Qiyamah and how dreadful it is. Okay? Even in that you will be in complete peace and tranquility if you send salat and salam upon Rasulullah. Many of our ulama, they say, if a person does a lot of dhikr, then he must do also a lot of salat and salam. Why? Because dhikr is powerful. Jalali. It's jalali. Powerful. It has a certain power to it. It's like a frequency. Like a frequency. When there's too much power and there's not enough to contain it, the containment I'm talking about is peace and tranquility. Okay, this is where salat and salam comes in. If a person does too much dhikr with an imbalance of salat and salam, then this might become detrimental. Too much dhikr might become detrimental if he doesn't combine it with durood and salat and salam upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is a means of the salvation from the fear of Qiyamah. We spoke about this. It causes one's scale to be filled with good deeds. We also spoke about this. It is a means of getting shade under the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahu Akbar. On the day when there is no shade but the shade of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that day everyone will be in complete terror, complete horror. When everyone is suffering, inshallah, Allah will give you the VIP pass to go and sit under the shade of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you recite durood upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It is a means of getting many spouses in Jannah. Those who don't have spouse in dunya, don't worry. Allah will give you spouse in Jannah. And those spouses are far, far, far beyond, far beyond. And those who have spouses in dunya, inshallah, you will get even the best of spouses in akhirah as well. Okay? And the discussion will go, there's whole books on written on Hurul Ain. Okay? Whole books written by great scholars on Hurul Ain. It is a means of being closest to Rasulullah on the day of judgment. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, the person who sends the most durood upon me will be the closest to me on the day of judgment. I told you this story before. I don't know if you remember. Sayyida, one of the women folk from Yemen in Hadramaut, that was from the lineage of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She used to recite at a bare minimum of 12,000 durood in a day. 12,000 times durood in a day. There never used to go by one night except that she saw Rasulullah in her dreams. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. If we see Rasulullah once, it is the greatest blessing in and of itself. It is the greatest good news that we can ever get in this dunya. Now imagine a lady that sees Rasulullah on a day-to-day basis because of her kathratul salat was salam upon Rasulullah. Because of the abundance of her whole day, from the morning to the evening, is all salat and salam upon Rasul. From her morning to her evening, everything that she's doing with salat and salam. Now, what type of tranquility, what type of peace does that person have in their heart? Every single day. One day she didn't see Rasulullah. She went to her Shaykh and she asked, what's wrong? He said, what number did you recite yesterday? He said, I wasn't able to fulfill my 12,000. I have my regiment. She made her regiment of 12,000 times. Her Shaykh gave her a regiment of 12,000 times a day. So she wasn't able to fulfill it. Therefore, she didn't see Rasulullah. The next day, the Shaykh said, you must make sure that you fulfill your 12,000. So from the next day, as usual, she completed her 12,000, and every single day she was still continuously seeing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is possible. Okay, these things are absolutely possible. Don't think that this is impossible for a normal human being. For a normal human being, it's absolutely possible. Okay. The most impossible things were made possible for the Sahaba. The most impossible things were made possible for the Tabi'een. Why? Why do you think that there's no saints? Saints will continue until Qiyamah. Awliya. Inna awliya Allahi la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. Verily, the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not have any fear, or they will not be saddened by anything on that day when everyone will be in absolute fear. Awliya of Allah exist in every time and age. And man aada li waliyan faqad adhantuhu bil harb as well is dangerous. Whoever is a wali of Allah and a person upsets this person, a person angers this person, he must faqad adhantuhu bil harb. I have declared war against the person. Dangerous. You don't know who's a wali. Okay? In this day and age, we don't know who's a wali and who's not. So be very careful with your dealings with others. Okay? A person might look simple, might look like a dustbin cleaner, might look like a toilet cleaner inside the masjid or something. But his rank is far, far, far greater than what we ever can think of. And he's much closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than you and me. The next, so it gives the shade on the arsh of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Qiyamah. It is a means, okay, we done this. You be the closest to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the day of Qiyamah. Number 26, it brings happiness and pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. Allahu Akbar. It is a means of being quenched from the pond of Kawthar. Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar. Allahu Akbar. This is the special fountain which comes out from Jannatul Firdaus. It comes out from Jannatul Firdaus, right outside from the fountains outside Jannah as well. So before we go into paradise, as Muslimin, as mu'mineen, we will be drinking from the cups, goblets given by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah says the goblets that are there to quench the thirst will be like the number of stars in the sky. How many millions and trillions and zillions of stars are there? This is the amount that you will have of cups, meaning there will be so many people drinking and going into Jannah. Before you drink, don't think that there's less people going into Jannah just because you listen to the hadith of Jahannam, just because you listen to the ayat of Jahannam. This doesn't mean there's going to be a less quantity of people going into Jannah. No, this is not true. So when a person will be going into Jannah, the first thing that they will have is the water from Hawd al-Kawthar. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, whoever drinks a sip, he will never, ever, ever feel thirsty ever again. So when he goes into Jannah and he drinks the pleasurable drinks that are there, the high class, the million star, not 5-star, million star drinks. When he goes and drinks, each sip is not drinking because of thirst. He's drinking because of luxury. He's drinking because of bliss. He's drinking because of love. Allahu Akbar. He's drinking because of satisfaction. Okay? In Jannah, there's no thirst. In Jannah, there is no hunger. There's no hunger pains. Here, today, if you don't eat, you're going to become hungry. Isn't it? One day you try to go without food, you're going to be so hungry. Look at what happens in Ramadan. Isn't it? You get thirsty within a couple of hours. Huh? So in Jannah, there's no such thing. Why? Because you drank the Hawd al-Kawthar, the water from the fountain of Kawthar before entering Jannah. Allahu Akbar. So inshallah, whoever reads a lot of durood, he will get the opportunity to drink from the Hawd al-Kawthar. It brings the help and assistance of the angels. Allahu Akbar. Next one, it is a means of protection from severe thirst on the plains of resurrection. When everyone is thirsty, when everyone is hungry, you are satisfied under the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the VIP section. Who doesn't want to be in the VIP section? Allahu Akbar. Who doesn't want, when everyone is burning, the sun comes 1 mile next to your head. When everyone is burning with sweat, when everyone is literally frying, you are under the shade with the drinks and water and everything of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the VIP section. Inshallah, the more durood we send upon Rasulullah, inshallah, will be from amongst these. No thirst. It causes a person to be firm on the bridge of Sirat. Sirat is something, a part of Aqidah. وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا كَانَ عَلَى رَبِّكَ حَتْمًا مَقْضِيًّا. Allahu Akbar. There is no single person that will enter Jannah except that they will have to go over the bridge of Sirat. The bridge of Sirat is over Jahannam. This bridge is so sharp, sharper than the knife and thinner than a hair. To our minds, to our imagination, this is impossible. But to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything is possible. Every single person that will end up in Jannah must go across this bridge. If he doesn't go across this bridge of Jahannam, underneath is Jahannam, those who will fall directly into Jahannam. Those who will pass, some will pass at the speed of lightning. Others will pass by the speed of like a galloping horse. Others will go like running. Others will go walking. Others will fall and stumble upon it, fall, hang on to it, try to go on it again. And then eventually either they fall or either they are from the people of Jahannam, or either they are from the people of Jannah and they make it to the other end. So the going from one side to the other of this bridge will be made easy for this person. Whoever recite durood upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A person attains the reward equal to fighting in ghazwah, in battle. A person who recites durood upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gets the reward like as if being in the battlefield. Allahu Akbar. A person attains the reward of charity if he does not have wealth to give in charity. If a person doesn't have enough wealth to give in charity, instead, you can read salat upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if this is your intention, that I am not able to give money in charity because of my circumstance, because of whatever reason, then inshallah, your need and your wish will be fulfilled. The salat and salam that you read upon Rasulullah on a day-to-day basis will fulfill that charity, and you'll get the reward of that charity as well. It is the most beloved of deeds. It is one of the most beloved of deeds of all types of deeds. Allahu Akbar. It is the beauty of gatherings. Without a gathering, in a gathering where a person doesn't send salat and salam upon Rasulullah, this gathering is mahroom. Mahroom. What does mahroom mean? Mahroom mean deprived of blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the blessings of the angels. It is necessary. It comes in many ahadith and many narrations that the whole majlis will be mahroom if the durood is not sent upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. One of the conditions of the khutbah in Jumu'ah, we know, is sending salat and salam upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It is the beauty of gatherings. It causes poverty and straitened conditions to be removed. If you are in harsh conditions where you are suffering, you can't find work, you're in hard conditions, you're not able to pay the bills, you're in a very tough situation, read durood in abundance, and inshallah, Allah will take you out of that hardship, that difficulty, that suffering. Allah will take you out. If you are poverty stricken also, this will work for you as well. Those who are poverty-stricken must recite durood more and much more. The blessings of durood carry on in one's progeny. Allahu Akbar. Those of your children, your grandchildren, and those grandchildren, the effects of durood, I told you, is like a frequency. It goes from the one person to another as well. Okay? Your spirituality, your beauty in your a'mal, falls onto your children. If not your children, sometimes it falls onto your grandchildren. If not your grandchildren, then your grandchildren. Okay, this is the blessing of our deen. Okay, this is why we preserve our lineage. We preserve our lineage. We don't want illegitimate children in deen. Is that understood? We want the blessings of a proper marriage. No haram, no zina. We want the blessings of a proper marriage. Remember the story of Surah Al-Kahf, where Imam Qurtubi says it wasn't the father's treasure that was held. This treasure, that the wall that was built, Musa alayhi salam built the wall to protect the treasure from getting exposed in Surah Kahf, the first page of juz number 16. This treasure was from 7th grandfather up. This treasure was from the 7th grandfather up. Allahu Akbar. Allah preserved the wealth because of the piety of a grandfather that was 7 generations above. Is that understood? Allahu Akbar. This is the piety of a father. This is the piety of a mother. It affects your whole progeny. It is a means of shaking hands with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam on the day of Qiyamah. Allahu Akbar. Whoever wants to shake hands on the day of Qiyamah with Rasulullah must recite excessive durood upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It causes the rust of the heart to be removed. Sometimes our heart becomes hard. Sometimes our heart becomes really hard. Even when you hear someone pass away, our heart doesn't soften sometimes. Sometimes even when people go to the qabr, when they go and see the graves themselves, they know one day these people were living like us. Even at that instance, they're laughing. Nothing is hitting their heart. Their hearts have become hardened like stones, like rocks. Kal-hijarati aw ashaddu qaswa, isn't it? So this hard-heartedness will soften by durood, by sending durood upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It causes one to remember something when one forgets. Arabs, Allahu Akbar, they have this culture of when you recite the durood, whenever you forget something, they immediately say, Salli ala Nabi, Salli ala Nabi, Salli ala Nabi. Make salat and salam upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, inshallah you'll remember it. That's what they mean. Okay? Allahu Akbar. This is their culture. This is what is amazing in their culture. Go to Morocco, go to Tunisia, go to anywhere, go to Egypt, go to any Arab country. They'll say this all the time. Salli ala Nabi, Salli ala Nabi. Anything. Even when they're angry, they say Salli ala Nabi. Why? To calm down. When they forget something, they say Salli ala Nabi. Allahu Akbar. It is a means of protection from mistakes in the path to Jannah. So the path to Jannah is straight. Sometimes we go off the road, isn't it? Sometimes we go off the road. We don't do everything correctly as it's meant to be. So it will get you back onto the path of Jannah. It will get you back onto the path of Jannah very easily. It is a means of strengthening and enlivening the heart, enlivening and strengthening the heart. It brings blessings in the affairs of the reciter. Allahu Akbar. It causes love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to increase. If a person is sending salat and salam upon Rasulullah continuously, what is he doing? He is only doing it out of love of Rasulullah, isn't it? He's only doing it out of love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the love will automatically increase of Rasulullah, and the more love that you have for Rasulullah, the more love that you will have for Allah. Because we are commanded to love Rasulullah. Without Rasulullah, like I said, there's no Jannah. There's no Jannah at all. For a person who says La ilaha illallah but does not believe in the last part will never enter Jannah. Jannah is haram upon him. Okay? Love of Rasulullah is binding, is compulsory, is fard. Then a person will become beloved and honored in the sight of others. Automatically others will start to respect you. Automatically others will start to revere you. Okay? You will get respect automatically. You will get dignity automatically. If you recite more durood upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it will cause one to see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a dream. Like I told you the narration, I'm not going to repeat again, okay? The story where that lady, she used to send 12,000 times a day, she used to recite Salawaat. And this was the reason why she saw Rasulullah sallallahu, one of the reasons why she saw Rasulullah every single day in her life. It causes one to attain such light through which a person will overpower his enemies. Allahu Akbar. It causes sorrow and grief, calamities and difficulties to be removed. We also spoke about this. It is a means of being saved from drowning. A person, if he fears drowning and he reads salawat upon Rasulullah, there is great possibility that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will save him. So whenever you're in big trouble, whenever you're suffering, whenever you're in any great difficulty, to recite salawat, and for salawat to come out of your tongue is extremely important. Okay? What is most beloved to you will come out at that time. Okay? What is most beloved to you at that time, at the time of trouble, will come out from your mouth. Blessings will come in a person's wealth. Everyone wants more blessings in their wealth. Not always more money, but always more blessings in the money. This is what we need. Okay? Sometimes, like I told you, a person can be earning less, but he is fulfilling much greater things. But whereas a person is earning much more, but there's no barakah in his earnings. He is not able to do anything with it. That money is not even sufficient for him. That 100,000 is not sufficient for him. Whereas another person is only earning 20,000 pounds. But he is supplying 5 families back home. Isn't it? Is this not true? So don't think that the wealth is everything. The power in the wealth is in the blessings of the wealth. Allahu Akbar. A person will get glad tidings of Jannah, or he will see his abode is in Jannah in this world. Allahu Akbar. This is another hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that before this person dies, a person who recites durood upon Rasulullah all the time, before he dies, he will see his abode in Jannah. Before he dies, he will see his abode in Jannah. Allahu Akbar. That's a great good news before you pass away. It causes one to be saved from backbiting of others. Okay? If a person is in continuously sending salat and salam upon Rasulullah, do you think he's going to backbite? He won't backbite. Why? Because of the power of durood. He's always constantly reciting durood upon Rasulullah, so he'll always remember that backbiting is worse than eating the raw flesh of my own brother. He knows this because it's from Hadith and it's from Quran, isn't it? أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيْتًا فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. Would you want to eat the flesh of a dead corpse of your brother? This is the likening to backbiting. So backbiting is extremely dangerous, and we must all try to refrain from such a major, major sin. It causes one to be safe from accusation. Allah will protect you against accusation if a person does accuse you of something wrong. It causes all types of blessings in this world and in the akhirah. This is the most comprehensive one. Allahu Akbar. All types of blessings you will get in dunya and in akhirah due to the blessings of durud upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the last one, it causes dua to be accepted. That durud is accepted, and due to this, the dua is also accepted. Allahu Akbar. Ya Rabbi salli wa sallim da'iman abadan ala habibika khairil khalqi kullihimi. This is how he ends off this section. So, if a person, he is making dua again and again and again, and his dua is not getting accepted, then he must, in the beginning and in the end, he must start at least with durood, and at least he must end his dua with durood. And there is high likelihood of that dua getting accepted because he sent durood upon the most beloved of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, inshallah, let us go through the actual 100 durood. Otherwise, we are not going to be able to complete this today. So today I spoke to you about the virtues before actually reading through the 100 durood. These 100 durood are specifically, like I said, are specifically from hadiths, from all the hadith collections gathered together in one place. All the wordings which Rasulullah himself from hadiths said how to send durood upon Rasulullah. He told us the wordings, and from the Sahaba's wordings as well. Okay, from the Sahaba's wordings as well. So, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa, salamun ala al-mursaleen. This is in the Quran, Surah An-Naml, verse 59. Okay? Salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa, salamun ala al-mursaleen. So, here is mentioned specifically salam. Number one, اللهم صل على محمد وأنزله المقعد المقرب عندك. It's the first one. This is narrated in At-Tabarani. The second, اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة النافعة صل على محمد وارض عني رضا لا تسخط بعده. This also comes in Hadith Musnad of Imam Ahmad. Anyone who wants the PDF of this, inshallah, contact me for the PDF. It can also be downloaded. I spoke about this last week or the week before. Fi Sabilillah publications. Fi Sabilillah publications. If you go on your app store on your Android, or even I'm sure it's also on your iPhone as well. You go on your app store, Fi Sabilillah publications. There's approximately 42 to 43 books. These are absolutely amazing books. They summarize for you the whole topic in bite size, literally bite size. Okay, this is one of the books. It's by a Maulana, by a Sheikh in Leicester. In Leicester, he is the anonymous writer of these books. MashaAllah, he made them so brief yet so comprehensive. It's absolutely amazing. All his books. So this was after a great research of all the books of hadith. He gathered all these durood upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Let's carry on, inshallah. So that hadith was in Musnad Imam Ahmad. Another wording of Rasulullah, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin abdika wa rasulika wa salli ala al-mu'minina wal-mu'minat wal-muslimina wal-muslimat. This is easy, very easy, mashallah. This is in Sahih ibn Hibban. Sahih ibn Hibban. Just like Imam Bukhari has a Sahih, Imam Muslim has a Sahih, Imam Ibn Hibban also has a Sahih. He was one of the great scholars of Hadith. Next hadith, we find next durood that we find with the wordings, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad wa barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad warham Muhammadan wa ala Muhammadin kama sallaita wa barakta wa tarahhamta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidun Majid. With this wording, it is found in Al-Bayhaqi. Sunan, generally when they say Al-Bayhaqi, they refer to Sunan Al-Kubra, one of the greatest collections of hadith. Sunan Al-Bayhaqi, one of the greatest books written on hadith literature. In size, okay? Thousands and thousands of hadith, way beyond Bukhari and Muslim and Tirmidhi and Abu Dawud combined, okay? Way beyond that. There's so many ahadith that are non-existent inside Kutub Sitta inside there. So many, hundreds, thousands of ahadith that are inside Sunan al-Kubra of al-Bayhaqi, Imam al-Bayhaqi. He was one of the greatest scholars of the 4th century, one of the last greatest muhaddithin of the 4th century. The next hadith we have on the next durud that we have, or salat and salam upon Rasulullah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Slight variances from the one that we normally know, which is Durud Ibrahim. Durud Ibrahim is the best. Is the best of the best. Even Rasulullah himself said, the Durud Ibrahim is the best of the best. Okay? It's the best. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. This we read in Salah every single day. Every single day. This is the best of the best form of Durud. If you want to recite that one, it's fine. If you want to recite one of these ones, it's also fine. This is also from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, from the ahadith. This specific one that we recited is from Bukhari. Next one. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Wa barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. This is in Muslim Sharif. Okay? Generally, our Indo-Pak scholars, what they do is they add the word Sharif. Sharif means something honored, isn't it? Something honored. And all of these books are greatly honored, of course. Automatically, these great books of hadith are always honored by any single and revered by any single Muslim. So, therefore, they add the word Sharif. Bukhari Sharif, Muslim Sharif, Abu Dawud Sharif, Tirmidhi Sharif. Okay? This is not something strange. Okay? This is for respect. Same thing, for example, a person asked one day to me, why do like the Indian books, the Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi books here, when they're translated, why do they add Hadrat? What is Hadrat? Hadrat is a title of respect. Okay? Hadrat Adam alayhi salam, Hadrat Hawa, isn't it? They add the word Hadrat. Hadrat is only for respect purposes. Okay? It's only for respect purposes. There's nothing wrong with adding that. And it doesn't need to be from the Sunnah. Okay? You must understand this. It doesn't need to be from Rasulullah. Okay? It doesn't need to be. There's no reason for you to make something compulsory when there's no necessity. We're only saying it out of respect. And respect has no boundaries. Okay? Of course, as long as a person doesn't go over the boundaries where a person goes into shirk. Okay? That is totally different. But here, of course, we know that anyone using these terms will never go into shirk, because Hadrat is only a title of honor. The next one, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. This is in Ibn Majah. Sunan Ibn Majah. Allahumma salli ala. This is something that you must come to know of all the different books of hadith. Okay, with all these references, the good thing that you're learning here is all the different references of different books of hadith. Because many people, they think all the hadith literature is limited to just Bukhari and Muslim, or maybe if they know a bit more, then they'll say Abu Dawud and Tirmidhi and Nasai and Ibn Majah, and that's it. Okay, that's the only 6 that they know. Other than that, they're jahils of hadith. They're absolute jahil. Ajhalul Jahilin in hadith. Okay? They want to reject anything and everything other than these 6 books. Who told you hadith is limited to these 6 books? No muhaddith ever said hadith is limited to these 6 books. Isn't it? No muhaddith ever said that. Ever. No muhaddith in the world that existed. From the first to the last. No muhaddith, no great scholar of hadith ever stated such a thing. The next one we have, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid wa barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. This is narrated in Sunan al-Nasa'i. Sunan al-Nasa'i. Sunan al-Nasa'i, I'll give you a point for hadith, those who are involved in hadith, those who want to know more about hadith. Sunan al-Nasa'i is also called Mujtaba. or Sunan as-Sughra. Sunan, this is just a point on the side, just for you to blend yourself in hadith literature and understand what hadith is known as the Sunan al-Nasa'i that we study in madrasas, and we have ijazah and sanad for to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, going up all the way from sheikh to sheikh, from sheikh to sheikh, right to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, connecting ourselves. Sunan al-Nasa'i, this one is known as Mujtaba, okay, the chosen book, or it is also known as Sunan as-Sughra of Imam al-Nasa'i, because he had another book called Sunan al-Kubra. Okay, in that one he had more ahadith, of course, but the authenticity of the Sunan al-Kubra was of much lesser category. Much lesser category. According to the authenticity of the 6 books, first comes Imam al-Bukhari's book, because his conditions were the strictest. Then comes Imam Muslim's book. Then comes Imam al-Nasa'i's book, not Abu Dawud. Not Abu Dawud. Everyone thinks it's Abu Dawud because of the benefit taken from Abu Dawud, but no. Third in rank in authenticity, according to majority of the scholars of hadith, is Sunan al-Nasa'i, this Mujtaba, Sunan as-Sughra. Okay? Then comes Imam Abu Dawud's book in authenticity. We're ranking it according to the authenticity. Bukhari, Muslim, Nasa'i, then Abu Dawud, then Tirmidhi, and then lastly, Ibn Majah. Okay? That's the least of authentic of the six. Okay? And then comes all the other books of ahadith that are there. But many ulama, they preferred, for example, Sunan al-Darimi over Ibn Majah. Many other ulama, they preferred Musnad Imam Ahmad. Many other ulama, they preferred, for example, Sahih ibn Hibban and Ibn Khuzaymah over other books of the other Sunan books. So those things are also there. Okay? Many other ulama, they said Muwatta Imam Malik. Imam Shafi'i says after the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is no book like the authenticity of Muwatta Imam Malik. Muwatta Imam Malik is way before Imam Bukhari was even born, isn't it? So all the riwayat of Muwatta Imam Malik are generally sahih and more authentic because more closer to Rasulullah. There's only 3 people change. Okay, very close change, less than 3 people change sometimes. Okay, very close changed from Imam Malik to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So many ulama said, but then many ulama, they came afterwards and they said, look, majority of the narrations in Muwatta is already found in Bukhari. Later on, Imam Bukhari included majority of the narrations in Bukhari and Muslim. And later on, they said also the compilation of Bukhari supersedes in authenticity the book of Imam Muwatta, Imam Malik. Why? Because in many of the narrations, he doesn't give the complete chains. But the ulama of research, they say all the ahadith besides 4, like Ibn Hajar and many others, they say all the ahadith besides 4, not the ahadith, the marasil, they call it the marasil, all the broken chains that are there found in Muwatta Imam Malik are linked, are complete chains. When they went into research, they found that they are complete chains except 4. And Ibn Hajar and many others say, we hope that all those 4 that we can't find are definitely also Mawsul, are also connected chains. Because we know who Imam Malik is. Imam Malik was Imam Dar al-Hijrah, one of the greatest Imams of Hadith in the world. Right. Next one that we find, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa barik ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad kama barakta ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidun Majid. This is narrated in Abu Dawud. Sunan Abu Dawud. The next one, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim innaka Hamidun Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidun Majid. This is also in Abu Dawud. Now Abu Dawud, generally, he doesn't normally narrate these ahadith. Abu Dawud, he generally is not known for narrating ahadith other than fiqh hadith. Fiqh are to do with masla masail. He generally narrates those ahadith to do with masla masail. So for these ahadith to be inside Abu Dawud is also amazing. Okay, is also a bonus. Next one, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala ali Ibrahim wa barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala ali Ibrahim fil alameen innaka Hamidun Majid. This is in Muslim Sharif. Muslim Sharif as a whole, I'm giving you these hadithi benefits because, I mean, uh, just for the benefit for us to take, for us to know these books. Many of us, we hear these books being quoted, but we don't have an idea of what these books are. The Imam Muslim's book is the greatest, meaning the biggest collection of hadith from the 6 books. Largest. You want to look at the largest book of hadith narration from those 6 books, the largest is Imam Muslim's book. Then comes Imam Bukhari's book. Okay, Imam Muslim, he has approximately way over nearly 9,000 narrations, according if you include everything, if you include all the narrations and all the maqtu'at as well. Okay, if you include all of those, then it's approximately, it goes above 9,000. Then Imam Bukhari, he comes under 7,500 and something, around that many hadith. And if you take out the repetitions of Imam Bukhari, you come down to 2,500, around 2,500. There's not many hadith in Bukhari. There's not many. Inshallah, we'll go through a series on Sahih al-Bukhari and its commentary in the future. So if you take out the repetitions of all the hadith of Imam Bukhari, you're only left with around 2,500 hadith. It's not many hadith. After all, it's not many hadith. Whereas Imam Muslim, even if you take out all the repetitions, his book still has over 4,000 hadith. Allahu Akbar. So his book still supersedes Imam Bukhari's in many ways. That's why the ulama al-Maghrib, the Mauritanian, the Malikis generally, the Mauritanian, the Tunisian, the Moroccan, the Algerian scholars, they used to prefer Muwatta Imam Malik over, they used to prefer Muslim Sharif over Bukhari's, because of many things inside Muslim which are very unique. And the benefit of Muslim Sharif is absolutely, if a person wants to study a book, even as an awam, as a person who doesn't know much, he will benefit from Muslim Sharif. Why? Because Imam Muslim, he gathers all the narrations together in one place. So although you think it's a repetition of the same hadith, but in the next narration, he'll bring additions. In the next narration, he'll bring different additions. In the next narration, he brings more additions. Okay? So when you look at one hadith, you look at it wholesomely, like with all the variances together in one place. So you'll benefit from it much more. Much, much more. Whereas Imam Bukhari's book, for you to take benefit, you must be a scholar. At the bare minimum, you must be a scholar. Unless a scholar explains it to you in a very simple form, you will not be able to take benefit from Imam Bukhari, because his style is very unique. His standard is very high, and his way of approach is very different. Whereas Imam Muslim's approach is much easier. If you study Imam Muslim's book, very nice and calm, and you'll get all the different narrations together in one topic, in one place. If you go to Imam Tirmidhi's book, even more benefit. One of the first books that are studied. One of the first, in some madrasas, what they do, instead of doing the 6 books all together in the last year, in the Dawratul Hadith year of Alimiya course, they do the Tirmidhi before they go to. They do the Mishkat, they do the Tirmidhi, and then they go to the other 5 books. Why? Because Tirmidhi is one of those unique books which Imam Tirmidhi himself explains the authenticity of the hadith. Himself explains the different views of the different imams and the mujtahideen. Okay? He gives the different views of all the different mujtahideen. The next narration, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala ali Ibrahim wa barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala ali Ibrahim fil alameen innaka Hamidum Majid. This is also in Muslim Sharif. Allahumma salli, next one, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa azwajihi wa dhurriyyatihi kama sallaita ala ali Ibrahim wa barik ala Muhammadin wa azwajihi wa dhurriyyatihi kama barakta ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. This is in Sahih al-Bukhari. Next one, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala azwajihi wa dhurriyyatihi kama sallaita ala ali Ibrahim wa barik ala Muhammadin wa barik ala Muhammadin wa ala azwajihi wa dhurriyyatihi kama barakta ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. This is in Muslim Sharif as well. One thing I wanted to mention before we carry on. If a person, with all the Anbiya alayhi salam, we say alayhi salam. Adam alayhi salam. Nuh alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam. We don't say alayhi salatu was salam. Alayhi salatu was salam is only for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, isn't it? Only for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But if you include the name of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you can add everyone else on. Is that understood? Okay. If you add the name of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you can add everyone's name on. It's fine. Okay. That's why you find here, for example, Muhammadin Nabi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin Nabiyyi wa azwajihi wa ummahatil mu'minin. When you add other people on, wa azwajihi. Azwaj means wives. The wives of the mothers of the believers and their progeny and their children and the offspring. Wa ahli baytihi, and the whole of Ahlul Bayt. Kama sallaita ala Ibrahim, like you sent salutations and greetings upon Ibrahim. Innaka Hamidum Majid. Verily you are the most praiseworthy one. And Majid, highly glorified. Highly glorified. This hadith is in Abu Dawud. Next one, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ali Ibrahim wa barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ali Ibrahim wa tarahham ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama tarahhamta ala Ibrahim wa ali Ibrahim. This is in Adabul Mufrad of Imam al-Bukhari. This is a book that's normally studied by students of knowledge, okay, in the early stages. And this is a very good book. It's a book on the manners of Islam. It's a book on the manners of Islam. It's necessary for a person to learn. Imam Bukhari brings all those narrations to do with manners in chapter form, in different chapters and according to different topics. And it is extremely necessary, and alhamdulillah, it's very beneficial because it's written by one of the most sincere human beings ever lived in history. Why we say this is because his sincerity was such that it took him 16 years to write Sahih al-Bukhari. So same thing, when it comes to adab, this was the first thing that they went through in the early stages when they were children. The more adab you have, the more benefit you'll take from your teachers. Our teachers always used to say this. The more benefit, sometimes a student might be clever, but he's not able to take benefit from the teacher. Why? He thinks he's more cleverer than the ustad. We've seen this. Wallahi, we've seen this. If you have that mentality towards any ustad, any sheikh, any ustad, or anyone that knows anything in any profession, think about it. Imagine you go to a garage wala, yeah? And you think you know more than him. He's been doing that job for past 40 years, and you think you know the job better than him. Isn't it going to be a problem? So this is the same thing with our deen as well. So many people, they start thinking that they understand deen more better than the sheikhs and the ulama that have graduated and have studied for the past 30, 40 years. Okay, we're not talking about new graduates. I'm talking about ulama, actual ulama that have studied for years and years and years and continuously researched. Okay? Because research doesn't come to an end. You can become an alim, you can do the course. The course is only 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. But after you finish, if you go into a different field and you leave this field, you're not going to know much. You have to research. The life of a scholar is research. So Adabul Mufrad is a great book. It's a very great book. It has some weak hadiths, but again, what do we prove through that? We prove that da'if hadith, weak hadith, is used by Imam Bukhari himself. Not in his Sahih, but in this book, in another book, and many of the other books that he has, he uses da'if hadith. Okay? In certain things, not in all things, okay? Not in ahkam. We told you, not in ahkam. Not to do with fiqh. Within fiqh, generally, Imam Bukhari wasn't of the madhab that he accepts weak narrations. In other than fiqh, other than aqidah, okay, they used to accept weak ahadith, like you find in all his other books, including Adabul Mufrad. Okay, this doesn't mean the whole book is weak. Okay, don't misunderstand this as well. Okay, this doesn't mean the whole book is weak. The whole majority of the book is sahih. But there are hadith inside there that are weak hadith, which proves the madhab of Imam Bukhari that he does accept weak, but in certain occasions, in certain chapters, like fada'il, like virtues. The next hadith, the next durud. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma tarahham ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama tarahhamta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma tahannan ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad محمد كما تحننت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم سلم على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما سلمت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. This narration is in Ma'rifatu Ulum al-Hadith by An-Naysaburi. Next one. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد وارحم محمدا وآل محمد كما صليت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. We should try our best to make it a regiment. We should try our best to make it a regiment every day to recite this. You recite it every day, it'll become easy. You'll be able to recite it like me. Okay? You must try your best to download the PDF or even buy the PDF or print it out if you can, best, and to recite this on a day-to-day basis. At least you know these are, look at the Allahu Akbar. What deen do we have? Even the words which durood was said by Rasulullah, by the Sahaba, are preserved right down to our generation. You understand how amazing this is? For 1445 years, this has been there for us. Ulama have got, if it wasn't for the ulama and them compiling these compilations together from the wordings of all, they had to go through probably hundreds of collections of hadith books to get these 100 durood together in one place. Okay? So be appreciative of how pristinely protected and safeguarded the narrations of this deen were. This is just one branch. This is just one branch which is to do with durood and salam, salat and salam upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All of these are preserved, even the wordings with which Rasulullah said it, even with the wordings with which Sahaba said it. Allahu Akbar. This is the pristine deen that we have. So you must appreciate it. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Oh, I didn't mention. The previous hadith is in, the previous durood is in Hakim. Mustadrak al-Hakim. Imam al-Hakim had a book which was also on the level of authenticity, but not like Imam Bukhari and Muslim. He was a later scholar and he wanted to make a book like on the condition of Bukhari and Muslim, but not all the ahadith meet the criteria of Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim. Majority of the narrators are of Imam Bukhari's and Imam Muslim's, but there's many reasons why Imam Bukhari and Muslim didn't narrate those hadiths. They knew the ins and outs of those hadith. Okay? Imam Bukhari and Muslim were on another level. When it came to hadith and classification of hadith and the narrators of hadith, they were on a total different level. That's why when Mustadrak al-Hakim, when he comes and he wants to write an istidrak, like all those hadith which Bukhari and Muslim, they left out, they couldn't do it. I'm doing it now. Not truly. They knew those hadiths as well. Okay? They knew. That's why Imam Bukhari says, I selected the hadith of this sahih from a range of 600,000 narrations. 600,000 narrations. Okay? So Imam Bukhari was Imam Bukhari. Same with Imam Abu Dawood. He memorized over 500,000 hadith. Okay? These were great giants of hadith. Next one, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka hamidun majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka hamidun majid. This was in, this one, mashallah, is in Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmidhi, Abu Dawood, Nasa'i, and Ibn Majah. All six books, mother books of hadith. This one, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka hamid. The one that we read, isn't it? The one that we read. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka hamid majid. The one that we read is in all six books. And I told you this is the best. This is the best of the best. If you want to read durood, the best durood that you can ever recite is this one. And the best istighfar. Which one is the best istighfar? We said it last time. Astaghfirullah inna Allah ghafurur rahim, isn't it? No. Astaghfirullah al-azim alladhi la ilaha illa hu al-hayyul qayyum wa atubu ilayh. That's the best one. Let's try to finish this inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin abdika wa rasulika kama sallaita ala ali Ibrahim wa barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. This is in Bukhari. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin an-nabiy al-ummi wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa barik ala Muhammadin an-nabiy al-ummi kama barakta ala Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Sunan al-Nasa'i. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin an-nabiy al-ummi wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim wa barik ala Muhammadin an-nabiy al-ummi wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. This is in Hakim and Bayhaqi. Mustadrak al-Hakim and Sunan al-Bayhaqi. Our mothers, our grandmothers, our fathers used to recite this on a day-to-day basis. That's why they had blessings inside their families. Okay? The moment we stopped reading the wazifa, they call it wazifa in Bengali. Yeah? The moment we stopped reading the wazifa, all blessings left the house. Why? Because wazifa is a compilation of durood upon Rasulullah. Isn't it? A compilation of durood upon Rasulullah. I told you it is not necessary for you to do durood according to the wordings of Rasulullah and according to the wordings of the Sahaba. But if you do like this one, like the one that we're reading now, it is best. It is best. But if you don't do it, is there something wrong? There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong at all. Just like you make dua in your language, there's nothing wrong. You could do it in Arabic, you could do it from the du'as of Quran and Sunnah, you could not do it from the du'as of Quran and Sunnah, there's nothing wrong. It is allowed and permissible. Okay. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته كما صليت على إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم صل علينا معهم اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى أهل بيته كما باركت على آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك علينا معهم صلوات الله وصلوات المؤمنين على محمد النبي الأمي. This is in الدارقطني. اللهم اجعل صلواتك ورحمتك وبركاتك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما جعلتها على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. Musnad of Imam Ahmad. We said Musnad Imam Ahmad is one of the greatest, biggest compilations ever written in Hadith literature. وصلى الله على النبي محمد. This is very short. Anyone can learn this. وصلى الله على النبي محمد. Sunan al-Nasa'i. Next one, التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات والسلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته والسلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Bukhari and Nasa'i. التحيات الطيبات الصلوات لله السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. مسلم النسائي. التحيات لله الطيبات الصلوات لله السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. نسائي. التحيات المباركات الصلوات الطيبات لله السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. نسائي. You'll see there's different at-tahiyyat, okay? Like Imam Shafi'i, they recite a different at-tahiyyat to us, but all of them are from Sunnah. All of them are from Sunnah. They, for example, prefer the at-tahiyyat recited by Ibn Abbas or narrated by Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The at-tahiyyat that we recite is from Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, our mufti of Iraq, our mufti of Kufa, from the Sahaba. Bismillah. So all of these are from the hadith narrations, just so that you don't misunderstand. Bismillah, because many of these you might not have ever heard before in your life. Bismillah wa billahi at-tahiyyatu lillahi wa salawatu at-tayyibatu assalamu alayka ayyuha an-nabiy wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi as-salihin ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu as'alullaha al-jannata wa a'udhu billahi minan nar. النسائي. التحيات لله الزاكيات لله الطيبات الصلوات لله السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. موطأ of Imam Malik. بسم الله وبالله خير الأسماء التحيات الطيبات الصلوات لله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا وأن ساعة آتية لا ريب فيها. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. والسلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. اللهم اغفر لي واهدني. شعب شرح معاني الآثار شرح معاني الآثار of Imam Tahawi, one of the greatest محدثين of the Hanafi madhab. Next one. بسم الله التحيات لله الصلوات لله الزاكيات لله السلام على النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. والسلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
اللهم رب والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة وبعثه مقاما محمودا وعدته إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. Inshallah, we stopped at 32. Please remember, those who are here, we stopped at Durood number 32. We'll continue from there next week. And inshallah, I'll also give you the 84 places and times Imam Sakhawi mentions that Durood must be recited. Okay? Inshallah, this will be next week. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك.